What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. All right, it's time to get serious. The preliminary races are over. It is the 50-point race. They are here. They're going to be coming out as fast and furious. And we're going to start with the Risen Star coming up this weekend at Fairgrounds. February 14th, race 12 on the card. What a great way to spend Valentine's Day here at Fairgrounds, going in here to the Risen Star. Like I said, race 12 on the card. They're going 1 mile and an eighth. Field of 8 right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you now. All right. This is the thing that I will say about Fairgrounds. When I first started covering, the races and really just first started even following the races, I'm not going to say Fairgrounds was kind of an afterthought, but it felt like on the male side of things, we kind of had some weaker runners. There's some great fillies throughout the years, but there have been some weaker runners. Ever since they changed the distances of their races, this has become a serious circuit. So what they do, usually the middle kind of preps are 1 mile and a 16th all over the country. It's 1 mile and an eighth at Fairgrounds, and then they run the Preakness distance 1 mile and 3/16 when they get to the Louisiana Derby. For whatever reason, the Risen Star has become a major stepping stone. I think it's a little bit earlier in the year for a 50-point prep. That probably helps with the way they train horses now. And I think that 1 mile and an eighth really helps. So I think they've done a great job changing kind of their format. And I think it's been really good since. Have we had a bevy of Kentucky Derby winners? No. We did have one. They got placed first after DQ. I don't want to get into the Medina Spirit thing, but we Mandaloon is what I'm talking about. But we've had a lot of very consistent runners, a lot of runners that have hit the board, went on to win other prep or other Triple Crown races. So good on them for doing this. All right, that's enough of that. Okay, I just wanted to give them a little bit of credit there. Let's talk about the field of 8. I think it's a very good field. I think we got a heavyweight fight coming up in this race. We'll start with the number 1 Universe. This was trained by Kenny McPeak, coming down to Fairgrounds after running 7th in the Smarty Jones last time out. The Smarty Jones was a strange race. It was a paceless race. Universe had no pace to run in whatsoever. I expect him to run a little bit better here in this spot. I do think, the setup might be a little bit better. The distance probably is going to be a little bit better for him as well. My big problem with him is I still don't see just a ton of speed in this race. And I just question overall if he's that good. He did break the maiden on debut. He was third, beaten 7 1/4 by Napoleon Solo next in the Champagne. He was second behind Incredible in the Street Sense. Incredible came back not to do a whole lot, but that could just be he didn't run very well. Second behind Further Ado last time, or 2 races back in the Jockey Club, and then right here at Oaklawn where he got 7th. I draw a line through that one. I analyze his other races when I'm thinking about it. I just don't think he's good enough to win, to be quite honest. I think if you wanted to try to put him in third, I think that makes the most sense for him. The number 2 is Golden Tempo, the horse that is 2 for 2 now. Broke the maiden on debut December 20th, and last time out wins the Lecomte. This is a really just perfectly bred horse to go longer. I think 1 mile and an eighth is exactly, and maybe farther, is exactly what this horse wants to do. This horse is by Curlin out of a Bernardini mare. I mean, can we get 1.5 miles right now? Because I think this horse is ready to run that. Look, the number really doesn't come back strong last time out in the comp. No matter which one you look at it, it's not too strong, but he really flew home, and I think you're going to count on him to fly home again. It's just going to be a matter of if he's fast enough to get there. I think he's a very logical horse in this spot. Both races got way out of it and was able to fly home and win. So we'll see if he can do it here. There's no holes to really poke in him as far as what he's done on the track so far, except the numbers are a tad light. We know you get that far back, it's hard to win every single time. You're kind of up against it in a way as well. So those are kind of maybe your negatives, but 2 for 2, really well bred, should love going 1 mile and an eighth. The number 3 is Carson Street. Source is was a third place last time out in the Lecomte, got beat a length to Golden Tempo. 2 races back, did break the maiden. Took 4 races to break the maiden, but it was pretty impressive when he did it. He held on for a long way and then kind of got, was he tired or was he just passed by a couple of decent horses? I'm not sure. I think he was a little tired, and that was 1 mile and 16th. Now we're going 1 mile and an eighth. I think he could play a factor. I don't think he's impossible in this spot. I think it might be a similar fate, though, where he's going to get passed late. I just don't see him holding on to the end. So maybe kind of like I said with Universe, maybe key him in third if you want a little bit of price in third. I don't think he holds on and actually wins the race. All right, the number 4 is Paladin, a horse everybody is pretty excited to see run in this spot. Look, I think this horse is ready to go a mile and an eighth. He has a win at a mile and an eighth. He's a by-gun runner out of a Tappet mare, so distance shouldn't be too much of a problem. And look, the way Renegade ran last week in the Sam F. Davis kind of just tells you how good Paladin could be and how good Renegade could be for that matter. On debut, of course, Renegade and Paladin squared off against each other in a 1 mile race at Belmont at the Big A. Renegade crossed the wire first, was disqualified, and Paladin was put up as the winner. Second race, they rematch in the Rimson, and Paladin was an easy two. I'm not going to say easy. I'll run that back, but it was a measured 2-length victory for Paladin. He ran very well in that spot, and like I said, Renegade came back to run really well in the Sam F. Davis. So, Paladin, I absolutely love the debut, even though, he quote unquote lost. They were so much better than everybody else in that race. And then, in the rims, and I thought he was just perfect. I thought that was a perfect race. He ran very well. So can he progress? That's going to be the big question. He's working extremely well. I love his running style too. Chad Brown kind of got caught with Sierra Leone, just a running style that, just wasn't really suited to just run out a lot of wins, and he would run well every time. He just couldn't with that running style win a lot of races. He won some big races, but not consistent, not a consistent winner, consistent hit the board hitter. And that kind of what Golden Tempo kind of reminds me a little bit of Sierra Leone in that respect so far. Paladin is not that way. He can sit the trip that, usually if you're good and you kick on, it's really tough to beat a horse that can sit kind of upper mid pack and be very patient. So we'll see what Paladin does here. Third race of the career. I think he's up for a good effort here in this spot. The number 5 is Chip Honcho. I just don't have a lot of interest in this horse in a race like this. He did win the Gun Runner. I don't think that was a very good race. He ran, honestly, a little better than I expected in the LeCompte, but he was still fourth, got beat a length and 3/4. He just kind of gets to the stretch and he kind of just runs in place a little bit, or just doesn't have that run in place is probably not the right way to put it. He just doesn't have that last kick that you need. So I'm kind of taking a pass on him here in this spot. I think to me, he's just an average, okay horse. I don't think he wins in this race. The number 6 is Colt 47. Colt 47, just 2 wins and 8 lifetime starts, was a winner of a claiming race, 3 races back at Churchill Downs, $50,000 claimer. And then fourth in a starter allowance after that, and then came to Fairgrounds and ran second, beaten 5.5 in an allowance. Got beat by Jackson Hole in that race. That's a pretty nice prospect. But I don't think Colt 47 is, so he's a clear pass for me in this one. The number 7 is Courting. I think this is a pretty interesting horse. First of all, the breeding is tremendous. Horses by Curlin out of a Bernardini mare. The Bernardini mare is Cavorting, and Cavorting was a very good horse in her own right. So look, this horse is bred to do great things, costs a lot at auction. Was not good on debut, got fourth, but it was at a mile, went back and won at a mile, second out at Aqueduct, beating Grittiness. Grittiness did come back to run second in the Withers, but he didn't run very well. That was not a great race behind Talk to Me Jimmy. And then last time out, ran fourth, beaten 7 lengths in the Rimson behind Paladin. You go back and watch this horse. I'm just shaking my head because this horse is just, he's got to grow up. I think it's the biggest problem. You go back and watch the Rimson. It looks like he's totally quitting at points in the race, and then he'll kind of re-rally, and then he'll kind of quit, and he'll kind of re-rally again. He just kind of needs to put it all together mentally. I think there's still a little something to this horse. I think a mile and an eighth is a good spot. Obviously, he ran a mile and an eighth in the Rimson. He's a kind of grinder. I don't really think he's got a huge, massive turn of foot. Can Pletcher kind of get him mentally ready / right, and can he kind of just run a full race? I think that's the big question mark. I'm not high on him coming into this race. I could see him getting second, third, fourth, something like that. I don't think he'll win. I just don't think he's going to put it all together that quickly. But he's one to keep an eye on, because there are times you watch him run during races, you're like, yeah, that's pretty good, and then it just kind of falls off. So I think he's part of it here, but I don't know that he's a horse that I really like, to win the race. And then finally, the number 8 is Quality Mischief. Last time out, he was 5th in the LeCompte, 4th in the race prior, in the Gun Runner. I didn't love either one of those races. I do like Golden Tempo moving forward, but just as a performance in the LeCompte, it was just like, that's okay. Yeah, it's not for me. Quality Mischief, not for me in this spot. All right, that's the field of 8. Look, I think I've been waiting for Paladin to come back. I really, I liked Renegade going into the race. So the Sam F. Davis, I like him coming out of the race. I got to go number 4 Paladin on top. So number 4 Paladin for me. Way back even in December, I thought, I really think this Rimson is pretty good, and Paladin and Renegade are pretty good, and they looked it. And Renegade comes back to run well. I think Paladin comes back to run well here. So I like number 4 Paladin on top in this spot. I'm going to go number 2 Golden Tempo in second, number 7 Cavorting in third, and I'm going to go number 3 Carson Street in fourth. I think he'll hold on for a piece of it once again in this spot. So once again, number 4 Paladin first, number 2 Golden Tempo second, number 7 Courting in third, and the number 3 Carson Street in fourth. All right, guys, that'll do it for my preview. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alert anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting Fairgrounds on Saturday.